by the middle of the century. That means, very simplistically, almost doubling the demand on uranium. It may or may not happen. By the way, if you increase the reactors, say, twofold, as I mentioned, we have had big nuclear accidents, let me say, in about every 20 years. 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, Fukushima. Unless you can improve the nuclear safety drastically, if the number of reactors double, statistically, scientifically, accidents will happen twice more often, right? Unfortunately. The experience also tell after a major accident, that country becomes very careful about the running of nuclear reactors, improves safety. But apparently, that lesson did not penetrate throughout the world. And I think that's why Chernobyl happened after 3 Mile Island. Fukushima happened after 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl. So, in future time, Japan, Russia, the US will not have an accident very soon. It'll be other countries, I don't know, that will have a major accident next time. And as the number of reactors increased, statistically, frequency will increase. Then the question is, excuse me, the last possibility is people opt to use nuclear energy extensively. This goes exactly to the opposite direction from today. I've been puzzled after Paris conference. Paris conference laid out such a high goals to achieve zero net emission, to achieve 1.5 centigrade increase. For that, you need to have a drastic change in the power generation. And with the existing science technology, from my point of view, that's nuclear energy. But I've been reading carefully the statements by the world leaders, editorials by major papers. None said we therefore have to go back to nuclear energy. It's very interesting. The only person who said that, Prime Minister Abe said, sorry, but we have to use nuclear energy. No one else, American, French presidents, no. British may be doing some, but no other ones. So, my impression is today they realize that they have to reduce the carbon emission drastically, but people don't think they want to go back to nuclear energy. That's today. But you never know. In the middle of the century, people may realize the impacts of global warming is so serious, worse than people thought. And then at that moment of time, people may come back to say, we have to use nuclear energy. At that moment, they come back to the nuclear community. Please put back those reactors into service. Please start working on them. For that time, we need to keep our basic capacity reserved. Otherwise, we will be in a total chaos. Then, how do you maintain the base technology and the capacity in Japan? There's another lesson learned from those big accidents in the United States, in Russia, and in Japan today. The people's compassion with the nuclear energy declined drastically after such a terrible accident, natural. And consequently, the resources, human resources financial resources allocated to nuclear declines. So, Japan has to maintain the base technology and capacity with the limited resources now given to nuclear circle. That's a big challenge. If you have enough resources around, you can do everything. But if with the limited resources, you have to make good choices and focus on limited number of activities. I would say one priority issue indeed is to focus on drastic improvements of light water reactors, if we should put them back into service, or if we should think about building new ones. Then I think we should put one focus on the nuclear fusion. We have been using nuclear fission energy or the light water reactors. But being a fission reaction, it produces enormous amount of fission products, cesium, strontium, and other ones. And that generates significant amount of high-level nuclear wastes, which we have still problem disposing of. In that sense, fusion reaction is a dream. It doesn't produce fission products in that sense. So if people want to have a huge energy source, but clean, without carbon emission, without fission products, fusion may be a future world. Well, there's an ITER project going on in France. Japan is heavily involved in it. There's also talk about laser fusion. But some people say